So let's face it, we know that wealthy people do money and life differently than others. But what do they do? What are the wealth building strategies they apply? I had somebody come to me and they shared with me a link to a video that a young girl had done, and she's not a wealth expert, but she had done on wealth building strategies. And they said, what do you think? And originally I was going to do an audit and go through the different ones, but I thought, instead of doing that, she's trying to do her best. She's not an expert at money. She hasn't spent 30 years advising the top 1% and 2% of millionaires. So what I thought I'd do is bring you what I have learned in my research and my advising. 5 of the best wealth building strategies I have found. And so if you want to either create a financially free life you love, or you want to serve affluent clients, you're going to love today's episode. So let's dive in. So hi, I'm Annette Bau, host of the Millionaire Insider. For over 30 years, I've been advising and researching the top 1% and 2% of millionaires to learn what millionaires with amazing lives do differently. And now I'm providing you practical, easy to implement insights so that you can build a profitable business with more ideal, affluent clients, as well as create a financially free life you love. And today we're diving into 5 of the best wealth building strategies I've discovered. Now, before we dive in, please click subscribe and ring the bell. For today's show notes, go to millionaireseries.com/1004. For all show notes, go to millionaireseries.com/WLI. So let's dive into 5 wealth building strategies that millionaires use that broke people don't. All materials and intellectual property are copywritten by millionaireseries.com. The information we provide is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or provide investment, financial, tax, retirement, or any planning or healthcare advice. All participants agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved, and all international copyrights are reserved. So the first thing is their relationship with money. People who have money have a very different relationship than people who don't. And these are people that not only have money, but keep it. Because we have people that have money and then lose it, have money and lose it. They don't have a healthy worth barometer. But people who have money and keep it have a healthy worth barometer. And worth barometer is your belief and your self-esteem. And your belief, what you believe to be true, your self-esteem, meaning how you feel about yourself, how you see the world, all of those things are critical because they dictate your wealth barometer. So if you do one thing, start working on your worth barometer. You can go to millionaireseries.com/105. I'll link to it in the show notes. But there you can actually do a deep dive into the worth barometer. The second thing they have is an abundance mentality. You can have a poverty consciousness where you're worried about everything, or an abundance mentality. If you have a healthy worth barometer, you're going to have an abundance mentality where you see the potential and things are going to be okay, and you're focused on what you want versus what you don't want. So powerful, so important, and a lot of people don't get it. It's easy to say, oh yeah, I get it, but then they're living in a poverty consciousness. We've got to get an abundance mentality. They value money and they treat it with respect. This is one thing that's fascinating to me, is when I look at people who have money, they are really aware of where they spend money. And then I'm around people who don't have as much. And if you go out to dinner with them, they buy anything and everything they want. And then they wonder why they don't have money. It's just interesting. And so a lot of those things we can teach ourselves. And it's not that you can't go out for a nice meal, but like my expectations when I go out for a nice meal with my family or my kids, I expect my kids to eat what they order and not over order, unless they're going to take the food and eat it later. And I see a lot of people, they're just wasteful, or they want a Starbucks, so then they have not 1 Starbucks, but 2 or 3. One of our friends had 4 a day. They were drinking 4 a day. I calculated that they were spending like between $7,000 and $8,000 a year. We did a little bit of calculation. I mean, it turns out to be hundreds of thousands of dollars that they could be ultimately investing for their retirement. Again, it's not that you can't go out and have your cappuccino or you can't go and have your latte, but just be aware of it and respect the money you've worked so hard to get. Respect it. So powerful, so important. So if you want support in actually creating a wealthy life, you can go to millionaireseries.com/WL guide to download our wealthy life formula. But that's going to walk you through a lot of the things that you need to know to really get on the track to create an amazing life as well as the wealth you desire. So again, millionaireseries.com/WL guide. If you want to serve more affluent clients, you can go and access our upcoming training at millionaireseries.com/affluent. When you access that, you'll also get access to our guide, our template, which is millionaireseries.com/AWT. But our Affluent Women and Couples template will again walk you through step by step what you need to do to serve more affluent clients. And if you want to get both, just go to millionaireseries.com/affluent. Literally 96% of people that have had unbelievable results serving affluent clients have gone through this training. So again, millionaireseries.com/affluent. So let's dive into the training. So the first thing they do is they prioritize. And what they do is they understand that they need a balance sheet. That's your assets and your liabilities. They also understand that they need cash flow. What are their expenses? They're always looking to maintain their principal and to spend their interest. They don't want to spend the money they've accumulated. They want to spend the money it earns. Very different from people who don't have money. People who don't have money are spending it all. People who have money understand the need for a balance sheet as well as a cash flow or a P&L, profit and loss. And it's so important to understand what's the principal and what is the interest. Because you can spend the interest, but you don't want to be spending the principal. Ideally, if you don't need the interest, then it's great to reinvest that. I mean, that's the ultimate goal until you really do need it, until you decide you're going to retire. The next thing they do is they have very effective management. They understand investments. That's the way in which they grow their wealth. And consumables. That's what depletes your money and ultimately your wealth. So they're very clear on that. They spend a lot more of their money on investments than consumables. People who aren't as well off spend a lot of their money on consumables. They live within their means. I mean, this is what's so fascinating, is they will say no. In fact, they say no a lot more than people who don't have money. But what they want to do is they want to make sure that they're going to be okay when they retire. They don't want to run out of money. Extra money does not mean extra spending for them. And that's a huge difference. What I see so many times is somebody gets a little more money, they get inheritance, or they start earning more money, they're spending more money. You don't find that with people who become financially free and remain financially free. They separate out their business and their personal expenses. So they've got a business account and a personal account, and they don't mix the two. Whereas people who don't have a handle over their money will just mix it all together. So again, understand the difference between investments and consumables. Live within your means. Because you have more money doesn't mean you need to spend it, and then separate out your business expenses and your personal expenses. Big game changer. The next thing they do is they balance their focus. They focus on both the 10,000-foot view, the big view, as well as the tactics, the details in their daily expenses, their monthly expenses, and their daily actions. So they can see the big picture, but they can also focus on the minutia. And a lot of them are very big picture, but they still know what's going on from a micro sense. And that's so important that you do both. They understand their wealth. They focus on streams of revenue versus the time for money model, meaning they're looking at how can they generate income versus how can I just go do something to make money. Examples could be rental properties, passive guaranteed income, which is one of my favorites, online business revenue, network marketing, affiliate marketing, JV partnerships. There's so many different things you can do, but what you have to do is figure out your personality, what works for you, and then make sure that you're consulting with an advisor or somebody who's an expert that can help you to really figure out what the pros and cons are. But be thinking about, how can I be making money when I sleep? Not just how can I make money as far as a time for money. I work, I get paid. Not optimal, and yet a lot of people fall into that trap. And the problem is, you fall into that trap, you have a mortgage, you have a car payment, you're stuck in it. Don't let that be you. So let's do a recap. The first thing is they have a relationship with their money. They understand the power of having a relationship with your money. They understand how to prioritize, what they're going to prioritize, what they're going to say yes to, what they're going to say no to. They're effective in their management of their money. They understand the difference between investments and consumables. They understand that more money does not mean more spending. They're very clear on that, and that's why they're so successful. They balance their focus. They can see the big picture, and they can see the minutia detail, and they understand wealth building. Where's the money going to come from? Not just a time for money model, but ideally passive income, residual income. Those are optimal. It's so nice to have enough passive and residual income that you don't have to worry about how much money you need to make. That's where you want to go, and that's what they do. So there you have it. So let's dive into a couple of tips. It's the little things, the daily spending that creates the big things, the financial freedom. And I know a lot of people don't get that. They don't realize that it's those little choices that become big. Like my friend who was spending buying 4 Starbucks between her and her husband, 4 to 5 a day. They're spending like $7,000 to $8,000 a year. We started doing just a simple compounding. It turns out to be hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of their life. Don't let that be you. Get clear on what you really want so you can stay on course to achieve your goal. Write your goals out and post them where you can see them each day. Simplify your life. Less is more. More stuff does not bring you happiness. In fact, less is more. That's one of the biggest lessons I've learned is more crap does not bring you happiness. Excuse my language. But the reality of it is like, I want less. I want to go into a room and have less stuff, not all this clutter, not all this stuff. When you don't have money, you want to accumulate because you feel like then you have more money. The reality of it is when you have less and you have a few things that you really enjoy, that's where you want to go. And then hire an advisor, ideally a financial planner, to help you create and implement your plan. Hiring a financial planner is going to be one of the best things you could do. In fact, I sit down with my clients that I've worked with forever, and what's the best investment you've ever made? A lot of them say me. And I'm like, what? I used to be like, what? But they're like, yeah, without you, I would never be where I am. All I've done is help them create a plan, get on track, and stay the course. And that's what you need. So find somebody that you enjoy, somebody that really is on board with you, and then take the next step. You're going to be so happy you did. And then go and download the guide, millionaireseries.com/WL guide. That guide is going to teach you everything you need to know. And it's even going to help you when you hire an advisor. Because if they don't know that stuff, it's probably not the right advisor. You want an advisor that's going to look at your foundation, your inner game, your strategy, your game plan, and then your execution, your outer game. Not just one or the other. A lot of them focus just on the tactical or on the execution, when in reality, you've got to have all three. If you want to serve more affluent clients, join me for our upcoming masterclass, millionaireseries.com/affluent. Let's face it, one of the most important things you've got to do if you want to serve more affluent clients, you've got to learn how to. Affluent women and couples. And in our upcoming Affluent Women and Couples Masterclass, you can learn how. Again, millionaireseries.com/affluent. So please remember to subscribe and ring the bell. For today's show notes, go to millionaireseries.com/1004. For all show notes in the Wealthy Life series, go to millionaireseries.com/WLI. So thank you so much for joining me for the 5 wealth building strategies millionaires use that broke people don't. I'm Annette Bal-U, host of the Millionaire Insider. All international copyrights are reserved. Wasn't that easy? Now you just need to go do it. Begin with 1. Then go to 2, then 3. Before you know it, you'll be at 5, and you'll be so happy you did because you're going to be so much further ahead financially and in your life. So before you go, please click the link above. That is based on an algorithm of where you would be best served. So go watch that. I'll look forward to seeing you on that training. Bye for now.